What's up guys, this is Astranox. In this Epic 7 video, I'm going to showcase this newly released hero, Boss Arunka. Now this is a knight that makes it so the enemy is forced to attack her if she's in the front line with single target attacks. That is very powerful. You can use her in a lot of places in the game, not only in PvP. That is my stats, my build. I have triple 2-piece sets with Noble Oath. It's working for me. That's the gear that I had available. You need to build defense. Most importantly, you need to build health. You need to build effect resistance and some effectiveness. But of course, you can't have everything crazy high, so the defense will allow her to survive longer, deal a bit more damage. She has a self-defense buff on the skill number 3, so as soon as she gets that going, she's gonna have even like way more survivability, especially with Noble Oath. The lower her health, the more defense and effect resistance she gets. I only have one copy, it's only at plus 15, but imagine if you have more copies. And yeah, that's her skills. The ferocious stand is very powerful. It's ridiculous. It's always there. It's always active. So they are forced to attack her, right? So not only good for PvP, but also in PvE content, I can see some really cool things out of Boss Arunka. Now the skill number 1 has a soul burn that triggers a duo attack with the ally with the highest attack. So if you land defense break and that ally follows up with duo attack, that target is going to take a ton of damage, probably going down. So this is the showcase here. I got well, a few teams going on. I really like to play with debuff teams, cripple the enemy, so Boss Arunka doesn't take much damage, which you will see in the following battles. Now, actually Blaze Dingo, I could have given the invincibility to Boss Arunka, but I didn't do that. I gave it to Closer Charles so he can actually deal more damage with his AoE attack skill 3. And her damage, to be honest, well, you will see it. I don't have crit damage built on her, and yeah, it looks like it's decent, but that looked like it was a crushing hit. It was a crushing hit. The font was bigger, and also the target has defense break as well as being at elemental advantage, light versus dark. So you gotta keep all these things in mind. So I don't think you should build crit damage on her. Her damage, her multipliers are really not up there. But she's able to get a lot of cycling with her passive when she gets attacked, which is perfect because with the ferocious stand, they are attacking her with their single target attacks. And even if they use AoE, she's going to get some CR push. So she's going to be able to cycle very fast without needing any speed. So if you have speed, don't put speed main stat boots, but if you have some speed on your sub stat, that's okay. But I wouldn't focus on speed at all for her. It's really about having her survive as long as possible. Now the gear that I have on the right side, it's 2 main stats are defense percentage and 1 main stat is health percentage. So you have a nice amount of effective health, very nice ability. And you want her to survive up until she's able to put defense buff, and then you want to kind of like sustain her, or if you can't, well, that's where the Noble Oath comes in artifact, making her survivability, her defense much higher, and effect resistance. And then she has her own barrier with the skill number 3, so you just need her to, you know, so she can survive a few more turns, get her to go, and make her survive until she goes, and then that defense buff and barrier will be on her, which will be very helpful. And the barrier looks to be very thick, actually. I mean, that it can be thicker than what we saw here, I think. No, it's maybe not that thick, maybe like 20% of her health. Let's say if you have more defense, let's say you went triple defense percentage on the main stat, or you have some crazy amount of like defense percentage on your subs, and you don't have as much health as me, of course the barrier is gonna look like it's thicker because it's based on her defense, right? So I do have over 17,000 health, so you do have to keep that in mind. So as you can see, crippling the enemy with attack down, decrease hit chance, it's really allowing Boss Arunka to take much less damage. Now, of course, for some reason, martial artist Ken is going ham, but now he's controlled, and he's everything is pretty crippled. Dizzy is really helpful, and Briar Witch is Saria, making it so heroes cannot get revived on both sides. But yeah, since she got buffed, she's definitely very nice. I always like to use Saria, but she wasn't cutting it quite too much back in the days. But now I'm very happy to see that she's pretty dang useful. So that's very cool. So yeah, definitely a lot of different ways to use Boss Arunka, right? You can definitely have a hero that will provide some sustain. I want to have more showcases of this hero. There's a lot of stuff I have in mind, and I got this video put together really quick because, like, you know, the hero just got released and I want to showcase the hero in arena, but I want to showcase Boss Arunka in RTA. So I would I'm gonna push in RTA and we'll see what she's able to do, because I have a lot of heroes. This is on my first account and there's a lot of possibilities. I can have some very squishy heroes in the back, very high speed. You know, I can debuff, cripple the enemy, or I can have a mix of that, some very high damage, and my team could be protected by Boss Arunka. But she's especially useful when, like, outside of RTA, let's say in a controlled environment like Arena and Guild Wars, you can really make her shine and bring her against the right teams, which, you know, they don't have much AoE attacks. So she's going to be able to soak all that damage for your team. Your team's going to stay safe, and you're going to be able to do, you know, your team combo. And that's very cool, actually. She just needs to have enough survivability to buy turns for the rest of your team, because she's definitely not there for the damage, right? But those defense breaks, the strip with defense break on skill 3, with the fact that she gets defense buff, plus she gets barrier, that skill 3 is loaded, right? And also the skill 1 with the soul burn, triggering the dual attack with the highest attacker on your team. You can make it so you have the highest attacker a very high single target damage dealer with an amazing skill 1, right? So when she calls that hero into a dual attack and you apply defense break, especially when you apply defense break with her skill number 1 soul burn, yeah, that's gonna slap big time. Like, that target is probably going down. If not, well, it's gonna take some major damage. So her kit, her passive is really a game changer. Of course, they can shut off her passive, so you gotta worry about that. Now, you can definitely build her in a lot of different ways. Yes, you can have her on counter. I just don't have a counter set available. So there's that, right? Because those extra defense breaks could be very nice. That could enable you to pick whoever got defense broken from a counter S1 and just take them down. So it might change the way you fight against the enemy, but if there's an opportunity, then there you go. But now with the rise of heroes that counter set, and yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's something that changed the game a lot. So the counter set, I guess, lost value compared to back in the days, right? But if you have just gear laying around, it could be like a two-piece defense set, health set, especially in early game with all the health set gear that we get for free. Then, like, you can do pretty good for yourself. As long as the survivability is there, you're gonna be able to just make her do her job. So that's very cool. And in terms of artifacts, of course, there's going to be more than Noble Oath. If it's something that just allows her to survive longer, maybe increases your team's, you know, survivability against AoE attack. So you could definitely have an Aureus on, you know, Boss Arunka. It's just that if she's going to be taking most of the damage because all the enemy is like single target damage dealers, then Aureus doesn't help that much. But in PvE content, you can most definitely put the artifact that reduces damage by up to 30% from boss and elite monsters. So she's going to be a beast of a tank just from that artifact. Or you could have Noble Oath, I guess, especially if you have more than one copy. And that will be extremely powerful. She's gonna be that much easy to gear for, to keep her alive. I mean, you can have her as your frontliner tank for Wyvern. A lot of PvE content could have her in the front line as a tank, and she will do her job just fine by being on the battlefield, which is definitely great. But of course, if her passive gets shut down, then her purpose, well, diminishes greatly, of course. But if that happens, you still have the soul burn skill 1. But if the passive gets shut down and you cannot gain souls, then, and she's built slow, of course, which she should be, because she's got a 93 base speed, and you should be focusing on survivability. The problem is that her passive is like her turn cycling, right? Her CR pushing, but also the reason why you would want to bring her, right? So if that's shut off, that's why you should build high effect resistance on her. To be honest, you should even build more effect resistance than what I have, especially if you don't have Noble Oath. Now, I do have immunity set on her, so basically, if they're trying to remove immunity, I have a decent amount of effect resistance, which would allow me to resist the strip, and the immunity would stay on her, right? Because she's slow, so like maybe all the enemy heroes, they go first before her. I mean, maybe not, maybe hopefully not before your whole team, because that would be pretty bad, but before her. And then they're gonna be forced to like attack her, and she's gonna get some CR passively pushing. But yeah, you need her to have enough effect resistance. It's just that immunity could be pretty helpful, especially if you're gonna be fighting, you know, battles that are quite short. But if you are in there for, you know, the long run, if you have some kind of sustain, if you're going in there, you're gonna, you know, cripple the enemy, you're gonna disable their team, you know, put attack down, you know, decrease hit chance, speed down, and all that good stuff, then yeah, you should work on boosting her effect resistance and not relying on Noble Oath. I mean, yes, you can have Noble Oath. What I mean is that you wouldn't want to rely on an immunity set, because as you fight in longer battles, the immunity set loses a lot of value. So you should go with a 2-piece effect resistance set. And to be honest, if I had it, I would go triple, you know, 2-piece effect resistance set. So that would be 60% effect resistance. And imagine if you have like Noble Oath, if you have like, let's say you have some like 200 plus effect resistance on her, that would be really nice. And the thing is, well, you can always get countered by heroes that ignore effect resistance. The problem is that what if the enemy just brings a bunch of heroes that do AoE, right? It deals damage against your whole team. Well, that pretty much defeats the purpose of Boss Arunka. But you have to remember that most heroes have a skill 1 that is a single target attack. So at least if you're able to survive the AoE, if you're at least able to take out, ban some of those heroes with AoE attacks, and have, you know, if it's gonna reduce their damage enough so you can survive, you know, their turn 1, then you can stabilize or something like that, then it's gonna be really helpful. Another thing is that if she's slow, which she should be, but let's say she's not building combat units fast enough, or maybe the enemy shuts down, they restrict her and your whole team, then she cannot cycle much at all. She's not getting that CR push. In that case, you might want to put defense buff on her using another hero. So you could have like Adventure Ras, like kind of like on a fast build, and then he would be able to put defense buff on her, and that would help a lot. Also, you could have Aureus on Adventure Raz, so it's gonna take some pressure off of Boss Arunka, which is gonna be easier for her to survive, especially if you're fighting teams that have very high single target damage, especially heroes that ignore defense. So there's quite a few counters I'm mentioning about like how to take out Boss Arunka, but if you're doing RTA, you gotta like, you know, pick her at the right time and ban the counters to Boss Arunka. So you gotta be careful about that. But if you bring her in a control environment, you could easily use Boss Arunka to climb in the arena like a league or more than one league if you play smart. So that's very cool actually. And same for Guild Wars, right? If you pick the right, you know, player to fight against, then yeah, I mean, not everyone's gonna have Boss Arunka. So like if your guild is letting some of those very high single target, you know, battles, you can just tackle that. You could have Boss Arunka with like sustain and a damage dealer safely in the back. You can even have like a hero that heals on a very fast build, and you don't have to worry too much about survivability, and you're able to just keep her alive very easily. So yeah, I'd like to hear what you guys think about Boss Arunka. Good luck to everyone trying to summon for her. I'd like to showcase her more. This is the stats of the heroes that I brought along in this showcase. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm Astranox. Good luck with all you do. Peace out for now.